Good morning. This is Aaron Pilcher. I'm one of the administrators in the page. I've talked quite a bit about the strategic plan. Then I got busy and I left it alone. It's about time that I circle back and talk about it. A few things have come up recently, and I figured it was a good time to do it. We're all busy, and just a forewarning for you, I'm not going to talk about everything. There's no way I could. I started looking at it, and this would literally take hours if I was going to pick it apart. So I'm only going to highlight a few things that I think are worth noting. I believe the strategic plan is severely lacking, and if the school is in trouble, that's a problem. And I don't use that language lightly. I say it because the school has admitted it. Chairman Underwood has stated very clearly that the education industry as a whole is in trouble right now. We're seeing that with a few schools closing. We're seeing that with the coming enrollment cliff in 2025, things that the school has highlighted as a problem. So they admit that they're in a difficult spot. The question is what's causing it. How much of it is only industry-wide, how much of it is within the school. I want to highlight the strategic plan because if we're going into difficult times, if we're in the middle of them right now, the school needs a plan to figure out how to get through it and come out of it. Okay, so very briefly, what is strategic planning and what is it not? The first thing is strategic planning is not typically a legal requirement. In many cases, it's not even a requirement for grants. It's usually just the sign of a healthy and responsible organization. Because when you have multiple people and a large group engaging in a business activity, you need to make sure they're moving in the same business and strategic direction, that they're trying to achieve the same goals, and they're using the same metrics to determine whether or not they are succeeding. So that's the strategic plan. By its nature, a strategic plan requires the input of multiple people and multiple parties, right? This should not be an exercise done by one person in their basement. You collect input, whether it be observations, whether it be hopes and dreams, and you put that into some kind of a document or plan that is both realistic and aspirational. Beyond that, I'd encourage you to look around the internet, find some books, and discuss strategic planning. It's widely available, so I'm not going to waste your time here. Okay, so next I'm going to look at Eureka's strategic plan, very briefly highlight a few things, and then I'm going to compare it to the strategic plan you can find from Knox College. And I'm using that because Knox has been very open about their strategic plan, and you'll see that there's a lot of information there, and you can analyze whether or not Eureka's plan is anywhere close to that. The first thing I'll tell you is that just by presentation, you'll be able to see that Eureka's plan looks like it was created on Microsoft Publisher or Windows 95, whereas the Knox plan is detailed. There's a lot of content there. It's more than presentation, but in the presentation itself, you have multiple web pages, you have audio-visual demonstrations. There's a similar PDF document, which is obviously meant as marketing material for the strategic plan, but you can tell that Knox invested a great deal of time and money in their program, and they know where they're going. So let's dive into Eureka's plan right now. Okay, we are now looking at Eureka College's strategic plan. This is available on their website. You can Google search it. It's also on the Facebook page. And everything that we've seen suggests that this is the entire strategic plan. There have been comments from former trustees and other individuals who are familiar with Eureka's plan, and this is the plan. It's not marketing material. It's not a proposal. This is the plan. So you see that this is let me shrink it down. This is a trifold pamphlet, one page front and back. And it's called Bold New Horizons, the Strategic Plan from 2022 through 2025. I haven't seen any updates from this. I don't know if the school's going to engage in any new strategic planning. This is the plan. The first thing to note, obviously, is the appearance. Now, there's a lot of content in this, right? You would expect content from a strategic plan. When I say a lot of content, I mean there's more text than there are graphics. I don't want you to think that I'm saying there's a lot of content here, especially when we start comparing to Knox College, but this is mostly text. When we look at the text itself, we talked before about defining what is and what is not a strategic plan. So let's zoom in and do the obvious, right? The graphic, the title, this portion here on the right-hand side, this is not a strategic plan, right? This isn't a surprise to anyone, so we can knock out this little panel right here. That's not part of it. This message, the president's introduction, it's nice to have an introduction to explain what the president is thinking. However, an introductory letter is not a strategic plan. Again, this is one of the areas where I believe we'll find a comment that the education industry, higher education, is facing difficulties. So the school is admitting there are troubles. When we look in the center panel, we see mission, vision, and values, right? Any high schooler, any junior high student who's taken a business course understands this. It's important to put this in a strategic plan, and I would say that this is somewhat on the line, right? Is this the strategic plan? Probably not. It's important to define it. It's important to tell people what your mission is and what your vision is for the school. However, this is not strategic planning. It's just something you have to use when you create the plan about where you're going to go and how you're going to get there. If this is all you had to do for strategic planning, you may as well create a plaque and put it on the wall in every building on campus. A few performance indicators down here. This is part of a strategic plan. However, I prefer to see these metrics alongside specific goals in the plan. We'll take them plopped right here in the middle. So we can say that on the one side of the strategic plan, maybe a third of it actually qualifies as part of the strategic plan. We'll go to the second page and analyze a few things here a little bit differently. So hold on a second. Okay, so we're going to turn to Strategy 1, Liberal Arts College of the Future Initiative. I remind you again, I can't analyze everything. I'm not even going to try. If you have questions or comments, please leave them below. But for right now, I'll just highlight a few things that I find, honestly, I find concerning. When we do that, keep in mind that when a person creates a strategic plan, there's a lot of what I call salt and pepper language, right? Strategic partnership, collaboration, synergy, words that you would find in many strategic plans. And so the question is, when a person uses them, do they honestly understand what they mean for the situation, or are they just salt and peppering whatever plan they have, hoping it sounds better? You're going to see when I pull up Strategy 1 that there's a lot of there are indications that they're using salt and pepper language to make this sound better, because they're defining some things that need not be defined, and they're leaving other terms wide open. And I remind you again that this is the strategic plan. This isn't marketing material. They're not saying look somewhere else. This is being presented to the public as the plan. So let's look here at Strategy 1. Okay, here. Strategy 1, Liberal Arts College of the Future Initiative. Salt and pepper language. We're looking here at disruptive innovation, signature programs, strategic partnerships, and facility enhancements. And mostly these two, strategic partnerships and disruptive innovation. Disruptive innovation was raised in previous writings or comments by the president, and so I'm assuming she feels some personal connection to this term. However, in the scheme of things, it's likely not as instructive as some would like it to be. Strategic partnerships. I would say that since this is a trifold pamphlet, two sides, taking extra space to define strategic partnerships is is a waste, right? Not only are they using strategic partnerships to salt and pepper the plan, they're taking time to define it. I have a problem with this because, for example, we look down here in objectives and milestones and metrics. We have the term mini metropolis. You and I can guess what this is if we were to Google it. We would find a few different definitions. It's not something that comes to the top of a search engine, so it's certainly not as readily identifiable as strategic partnerships. But I think we can understand that the school is trying to create more of an on-campus full service area for students. Nonetheless, it's not defined here, so we don't quite know what mini metropolis is. The school has taken time to define strategic partnerships, but they haven't defined mini metropolis. I think that's a problem. I think it suggests the school doesn't quite understand what it wants to do. Now I'm going to go back to strategic partnerships and why I think this is a problem. In objectives, down in milestones and metrics, one of the gauges for success is to, if I can highlight it here, initiate at least 2 new strategic partnerships each year. What does that mean? Well, since they've taken the time to define strategic partnerships, let's look back up here at item C and talk about it. A strategic partnership is an academic, corporate, or community partnership that aligns with and supports the strategic vision of the college, right? Academic, corporate, and community. That's just about anyone. So the school's metric for success is they get 2 organizations of any kind to partner with the school in any way, theoretically by 2025, although we don't necessarily have a year attached to it. I can tell you that's not a strategy. If the school was trying to bolster its education department, for example, then maybe they would try to develop a strategic partnership with a high school or with an employer within a particular industry to provide more internships for students. But to include as a milestone and metric this idea that the school is going to connect with 2 groups of any kind at any place for any reason, this isn't a strategic plan at all. This is garbage. We don't have a time frame. We don't have a measurable impact on students or graduation rates or employability after graduation. Like I said, this is just garbage, and it's frustrating to see it here as the plan for an institution of higher learning. I will highlight this portion here. When we talk about strategic planning, right, they're both realistic representations of current situation as well as aspirational. We want the school to strive for something. That's great. This item D, stems from the draft, and we have the draft where the school was considering satellite locations in Peoria and Germany. Now, granted, Germany didn't make it into the final plan. I think that's a good thing, right? I mean, the school is having difficulty maintaining itself at home, and I don't quite understand the reach in Germany. I know President Reagan gave his tear down the wall speech there, which is important, but I don't see other schools trying to develop satellite locations internationally because someone associated with the college gave a speech there. I do think it's a disconnect. It didn't make it into the final plan, that's good, but neither did Peoria. So I'm just curious why both of them were removed. I do think the school needs to focus on its current campus, its current situation, but reaching out to Peoria would not be certainly an aspiration too far. We don't have a deadline. We don't have a list of localities. Again, we're looking for satellite locations, plural, both locally and internationally. So this is an objective similar to the milestone down here. They're looking to put a satellite anywhere, any place, at any time, and see what happens. There's nothing strategic about this at all. It's very concerning that this is the school's plan. I don't want to hammer the school relentlessly, so I'm going to highlight this item in milestones and metrics: develop early childhood program. Right, Eureka College is known for producing teachers, specifically high school and elementary teachers. It has always been a school, as far as I understand it, that has focused on education, and not education for the students, but education as an industry. And so if we don't have an early childhood program moving into that area, especially considering that it's a rapidly growing part of the education field, that's a good thing. So recognizing early childhood education as an option for the school, I appreciate that. That's certainly more strategic. The problem is we don't know what kind of metrics the school is looking for. We don't know how many students they expect in the program. We don't know what kind of job opportunities the school is looking at. The only metrics we have, I'd remind you, that we can attach to this particular metric has to do with the numbers on the first page. And we're talking about financial positions, growth, graduation rates, but none of that tells us what the school expects from an early childhood program. So while I think the school is moving in a good direction, I really don't know what Eureka specifically intends to get out of it by putting this in milestones and metrics. Again, there's lots more I could talk about, but I'm just going to stop here on strategy 1. One item before we leave strategy 1. In milestones and metrics, it says complete feasibility study for on-campus hotel by spring of 2023. Keep that in mind. All right. So when we talk about a new hotel by 2023, at this point, I'm highlighting it not because I care about a hotel. I could say things about a hotel, but I'm not. I'm going to talk about the fact that it is now March, as I'm making this video, March of 2024. We are almost a year past the deadline articulated in this item. They were supposed to decide whether or not they were going to pursue a hotel by the spring of 2023. I have seen no updates. So this gets back to the nature of a strategic plan. And I'll highlight it here. It is supposed to be a living, breathing document. Your strategy is always responding to the conditions that the institution faces. It should be considering new information. Milestones, metrics, objectives should be reviewed regularly to make sure that you're on track. This is still the strategic plan. I have seen no information to suggest that this has been reviewed since it was published in 2022 or maybe even 2021. This is a static document. And what does that mean to me? It tells me that, number one, the school may have had a plan back in 2021, 2022. I don't think it's a good plan, but they had a plan. It's now 2024, and the school isn't touching it, which suggests to me that even if they consider this their plan, they're not using it, which means, frankly, the school doesn't have a plan. If anyone has a strategic plan for the institution, it's in their head, and it's not being circulated. Because if individuals in a position to do something about this changed their position, they changed the direction of the school, I would hope that the published document articulating the school's plan would also be modified. But right now, we just don't see it. The school, as best I can tell, does not have a plan, even though they recognize they're heading into difficult territory. All right, I'm a little bummed right now because I went to look for the Knox strategic plan, which they had published on their website, and it appears that they've taken all of it down. I don't know why. There's really no indication anywhere that it was taken down. If you were to search Knox strategic plan in Google, it'll pull up a number of pages, web pages. All of them go to dead links where the Knox website says page not found. The direct links within its website seem to have gone away, so I don't know what's going on with Knox College, and I'm not going to spend any more time looking for it. If any of you can find it, you're welcome to post a link or comment to this post. Please do. If we have to, we can come back and look for it again. But right now, the comparison is off. I will tell you what I saw before, though. There were multiple web pages devoted to the plan. Lots of text, lots of departments. There was a video message from the president, and he wasn't just talking about the industry generally. He was detailing the process of strategic planning for Knox College and the number of interested persons and entities who participated in that planning process. There were also many different links to progress reports, right? So the progress reports, those are important because it shows that Knox was actively reviewing and revising their plan. The progress reports for individual departments and individual goals were longer, textually longer than the entire strategic plan for Eureka that we just reviewed. So it's disappointing that it's gone, or at least it appears that it's gone. But if it pops up again, we'll do a comparison. So that's where we're at. Thanks. Okay, at this point, I'm going to stop my review. I have to get back to work. But I'd encourage you to review strategies 2, 3, and 4 in the plan yourself. Make comments, and let's keep talking about this. If I analyzed it further, I'll just tell you that there are more indicators to suggest, number one, the school is not using the plan, and number two, when they created it, there was a severe disconnect from reality. So I am concerned that, number one, the school is admitting that they are in trouble, and by they, the school is referring to the industry. Others have raised questions about Eureka specifically, but nonetheless, whatever the cause, it seems accepted universally that the school is facing difficult times. So then, if we're going through it, we really do need a plan. The school needs to figure out how they're going to approach these issues, how they're going to fix them, and right now, every indication is they simply don't have a plan. That's my analysis based on the document that they've put out on the internet. Again, I'd ask you to review it yourself. Thanks for watching, and I really hope this works out for Eureka.